Hello, I'm John Banks. I was involved in the original planning of the metro system from the inception of the PTE in 1970. I then became equipment and systems manager for the design and construction and then deputy general manager when the system became operational, Peter Layfield being the general manager, and when he became a director of the PTE. Subsequently, I became general manager of the Metro until I left in 1988, I think it was.
Just tell us about your abiding memories of the royal visit in '81.
I've got quite a photographic memory, and my memories of the royal visit are very clear, both beforehand the planning of it, which involved a lot of work with British Rail on where the Royal Train was going to be stabled and the timing of everything, through to the actual day itself, where I was on the concourse at Monument Station and was presented to Her Majesty the Queen, who had a few words with me, which I always remember. And then we proceeded down onto the platform and boarded the Royal Train for the journey to Gateshead. The train halted at the Queen Elizabeth Bridge for a formal opening ceremony or naming ceremony there, but due to a bomb scare, that interlude was truncated, and we all got back on the train again rather more quickly than had been planned and carried on through to Gateshead Station, where we caused, I believe, a bit of concern on the part of those on the platform waiting to be presented to Her Majesty, because the train arrived very much earlier than they'd been expecting. We then progressed up onto the main concourse at Gateshead Station, where Councillor Jack May gave a very good little speech to Her Majesty and the assembled company, and the Queen then unveiled a plaque and re-boarded the train to carry on to Heath. After that, we progressed to the Civic Centre in Newcastle, where there was a very pleasant lunch. There were all sorts of details I remember, like the band at Gateshead, if I remember correctly, and other bits and pieces. But it was a great day. There was a great atmosphere. The public of Tyne and Wear were very, I think, taken with the whole thing, and the great accolade it was to have delivered this marvellous transformational rail system, and which of course was the centrepiece of the country's first and so far only fully integrated transport system, with integrated bus, rail, car parking, through ticketing, through season tickets on a zonal basis, and all sorts of other innovations which were brought successfully into being for the occasion. But the royal opening was the pinnacle, the day we all remember, I think.
What did the Queen say to you, John, when you met her?
Well, she was being escorted by David Howard, the Director General, and he introduced me and explained my involvement with the system since the idea first was formed. And she said to me, it must have seemed a very long time through from then until today. And I always remember saying, well, it took on a life of its own, Mum. And she laughed and walked away. And that was the main memory I have. Obviously, the lunch at the Civic Centre was a great occasion, and all sorts of other bits and pieces, but and particularly the brief encounter at the bridge when we had the alarm and had to get back on the train again.
It must have been a very proud day for Metro. What was it like?
The train standing at
It was. I think it's you can really only describe it as the culmination, but of course it wasn't the culmination, because we'd only opened the Metro to Pelaw at that stage. We still had other sections to complete, and the work carried on even on the construction for a further 3 years. So it was a culmination. It was a highlight. It made it all worthwhile, although the Metro itself made it all worthwhile, a sense of achievement, but it put the icing on the cake, as it were. But after that, we had to get back to the day job, and get the rest of the system built and into operation.